Germany was once the industrial heart of Europe, a country known for discipline, engineering precision, and long-term planning. Made in Germany wasn't just a label, it was a global standard. And yet, over the last decade, Germany made one of the most expensive economic decisions in modern history. A decision that cost over $500 billion. Not because of corruption, not because of war, but because of belief. Germany believed this time would be different. The plan was called Energiewende, the energy transition. The vision was ambitious: shut down nuclear power, reduce fossil fuels, and replace them with wind and solar energy. On paper, it sounded like the future. In politics, it sounded heroic. But in economics, intentions don't matter, only outcomes do. The first crack in the system appeared after Fukushima in 2011. A nuclear accident in Japan triggered fear across the world. Germany reacted faster than any other industrial nation. Despite having no tsunami risk, no major fault lines, and some of the safest nuclear reactors ever built, Germany decided to shut them down. These reactors were already paid off. They produced massive amounts of stable, low-cost electricity. They emitted almost no carbon, and they worked day and night, regardless of weather. Germany didn't shut them down because they were inefficient. It shut them down because fear had become policy. When nuclear power disappeared, something had to replace it. Wind and solar were not ready. So Germany turned to natural gas, and most of that gas came from one place: Russia. For years, cheap Russian gas flowed into Germany through pipelines like Nord Stream, powered factories, heated homes, and stabilized electricity prices. German leaders called it pragmatic cooperation. In reality, it was strategic dependence. Energy policy became geopolitical vulnerability. As long as gas was cheap, the illusion held, but systems built on assumptions always collapse when conditions change. When Russia invaded Ukraine, the illusion shattered overnight. Gas prices exploded. Electricity prices followed, and Germany discovered a painful truth: it had outsourced its energy security. With nuclear gone and gas unreliable, Germany had no stable baseload power. Wind and solar could not fill the gap. When the wind didn't blow and the sun didn't shine, coal plants were restarted. Coal, the very thing the transition was meant to eliminate, Germany was burning more coal, not less, to keep the lights on. This is where economics became real. Energy is not just electricity. Energy is industry, and industry runs on predictability. German manufacturers don't survive on slogans. They survive on stable power, prices, and reliable supply. When energy costs became unpredictable, companies didn't complain, they recalculated. Chemical giant BASF began cutting operations in Germany and expanding in China. Automakers shifted production to the United States, not because wages were lower, but because energy was cheaper and more stable. This is what deindustrialization looks like. It doesn't arrive with protests or headlines. It arrives with quiet relocation. Factories do not wait for policy to improve, they leave. Meanwhile, another hidden problem emerged: the grid. Germany built massive wind farms in the north, near the coast, but its industrial centers are in the south. The transmission infrastructure was never completed on time, so electricity was generated but couldn't be delivered. Germany paid billions for what became known as ghost electricity, power that existed on paper, but not where it was needed. Producers were paid to shut turbines off because the grid couldn't handle the load. Complexity didn't eliminate risk, it hid it. Then came the heat pump policy, a rushed attempt to force households to switch heating systems. The technology itself wasn't the problem. The speed and coercion were. Middle-class families panicked. Costs were unclear. Rules kept changing. Political backlash followed. The policy nearly collapsed. The government. This is a recurring pattern in economic history. When change is forced faster than society can absorb, resistance is guaranteed. Prosperity cannot be legislated into existence. Germany didn't fail because green energy is impossible, it failed because transitions were rushed, risk was ignored, and backup systems were removed before replacements were ready. This is not the end of Germany, but it is the end of an illusion. The illusion that complex systems can be redesigned without consequences. The illusion that ideology can override physics. The illusion that history no longer applies. Economic systems don't collapse at the moment of crisis. They collapse at the moment of peak confidence, and confidence was highest when Germany believed it had engineered the future. History teaches this lesson repeatedly, from financial bubbles to energy transitions. The pattern is the same: human behavior changes slowly. Technology changes fast, and when the two collide, reality always wins. Germany's $500 billion mistake wasn't a single decision. It was a sequence of choices made under the belief that this time would be different. It wasn't, and it never is.